The first time Serena Moretti told me she was getting married, she didn't look at me. That should have been my first warning. She stood at the head of the conference table in a black suit, one hand resting beside a sealed contract. Around her sat 12 men who controlled most of the Moretti family's legitimate businesses, and several that never appeared on tax records. I sat 3 chairs from her, pretending the pressure in my chest was just another problem I could solve. Serena's father, Vincent Moretti, smiled like he had just closed the biggest deal of his life. 3 weeks from Saturday, he announced, Serena will marry Adrian DeLuca. The room erupted in applause. I didn't move. Adrian DeLuca leaned back in his chair and accepted the congratulations as if Serena were already another company under his control. He was 32, polished, wealthy, and born into the only family powerful enough to challenge the Morettis in New York. He also wore the kind of smile that made me check where the exits were. Serena finally lifted her eyes. They landed on me. Just for 1 second. Lucas, Vincent asked. I realized everyone was waiting. I forced myself to smile. Congratulations. Serena's expression didn't change, but her fingers tightened around the edge of the table. Adrian noticed. Of course he did. Is that all? He asked lightly. I turned toward him. Were you expecting a speech? A few men looked down, hiding smiles. Adrian's jaw shifted. Serena cut in before he could answer. Lucas doesn't give speeches unless someone pays him by the word. It was an old joke between us. Nobody else laughed. Neither did I. Vincent cleared his throat. This marriage will unite both families. From now on, every major decision involving security, logistics, or acquisitions will be shared with Adrian. That got my attention. I looked at Serena. Shared how? Adrian answered for her. Completely. I ignored him. Serena? Her eyes stayed on mine. We'll discuss the transition privately. Transition. The word hit harder than the engagement. For 5 years, I had handled every crisis that reached Serena's desk. Kidnapping threats, federal investigations, internal betrayals, one warehouse bombing in Brooklyn that nearly took both of us out. I wasn't family. That fact had been repeated to me more times than I could count. But I had been the person Serena called at 2 in the morning. The person she trusted with every secret except this one. Adrian tapped the contract. Some changes are overdue. I leaned back. You've been engaged for 10 minutes, and you're already restructuring her operation? His smile sharpened. Our operation. Serena's voice turned cold. Enough. The room went silent. She looked at Adrian first. You don't speak for me. Then she looked at me. And you don't challenge my decisions in front of the council. I should have stopped. I didn't. You didn't tell me. Something changed in her face. Not enough for anyone else to catch. Enough for me. This is not personal, she said. That was the lie that ended everything. I nodded slowly. Understood. The meeting continued for another 40 minutes. I didn't hear most of it. They discussed venues, security rotations, guest lists, and alliances. Adrian spoke about the marriage like it was a merger. Vincent spoke about grandchildren like they were future board members. Serena barely spoke at all. When the meeting ended, I collected my folder and headed for the door. Lucas, Serena said. I stopped. Everyone else kept moving. Adrian remained beside her. I need the revised security plan by tomorrow morning, she said. I glanced at him. For the wedding? For the family. Adrian slid one arm around the back of her chair. She didn't lean into him. That almost made it worse. I'll have it sent, I said. Sent. I won't be delivering it personally. Her eyes narrowed. Why not? Because I'm resigning. The room froze again. Vincent turned back. What did you say? I placed my access card on the table. I'll finish the security plan tonight. My files are organized. Daniel can take over the remaining accounts. Serena stared at the card like it was a weapon. You're joking, she said. No. Adrian laughed under his breath. Emotional timing. I looked at him. You should learn the difference between emotion and judgment. It might keep you alive longer. Lucas, Serena warned. I nodded. There it is. What? That tone. The one you use when I've crossed a line. Her shoulders stiffened. You have. Then this should make things easier. I turned toward the door. Stay, she said. One word. Quiet. Controlled. Dangerous. I stopped but didn't turn around. Serena dismissed the room. Everyone out. Vincent started to object. Now. Chairs moved. Doors closed. Even Adrian left, though not before giving me a look that promised trouble. When we were alone, Serena walked around the table. What are you doing? She asked. Leaving. Because I'm getting married? I faced her. You said it wasn't personal. It isn't. Then my resignation shouldn't matter. It matters because you're essential to this family. I laughed once. Her eyes flashed. What's funny? 5 years, Serena. 5 years of taking bullets, cleaning up betrayals, and sleeping with my phone beside my head because you might call. I never asked you to take a bullet. No. You just stood over me in the hospital and threatened the surgeon until he stopped shaking. That surgeon was incompetent. He saved my life. After I found someone better. I looked away because that was Serena. She could tell a room full of armed men that she felt nothing, then spend 2 nights sitting beside my hospital bed without sleeping. She stepped closer. You don't get to disappear because you dislike my engagement. I don't dislike it. Don't lie to me. The command came sharp. I met her gaze. Fine. I hate it. Her breath caught. I continued before I lost my nerve. I hate Adrian. I hate the way he talks over you. I hate that everyone in that room treated you like part of a contract. My voice dropped. And I hate that you let me hear about it with everyone else. Serena's anger faded. You think I wanted that? I don't know what you want. You should. Why? Because you call me when people are trying to kill you? Because you trust me with your bank codes and your escape routes? I shook my head. That's not the same as choosing me. Her face went still. I had said too much. We both knew it. Serena moved closer until only a step remained between us. And what exactly did you want me to choose you for, Lucas? There it was. The question I had spent years avoiding. I could have told her. I could have said that I had loved her since the night she walked into a warehouse with 6 armed men and still looked more worried about the cut on my hand than the guns pointed at her. Instead, I gave her the safest answer. My position. Disappointment flickered across her face. It vanished almost immediately. Coward, she whispered. I stared at her. What? Nothing. She stepped away and picked up my access card. For one reckless second, I thought she might tear it up. Instead, she held it out. If you want to resign, submit the paperwork properly. I took the card. Our fingers touched. She didn't let go. Neither did I. 3 weeks, she said. Stay until the wedding. That's a terrible idea. It wasn't a request. I almost smiled. You can't order me to watch you marry someone else. Her grip tightened. Then don't watch. I waited. Her voice dropped. Just don't leave before I can fix this. My heart stopped. Fix what? Footsteps sounded outside the door. Serena released the card. Adrian entered without knocking. His eyes moved between us. Am I interrupting? Yes, Serena said. No, I said at the same time. Adrian smiled. Serena's expression hardened again. Lucas will remain until the wedding. I looked at her. She looked back like she had just won. I slid the access card into my pocket. No, I said. I won't. Then I walked out before she could see how badly I wanted her to stop me. Serena called me 17 minutes after I left the building. I watched her name flash across my phone until the screen went dark. Then she called again. And again. By the 4th call, I turned the phone face down on the passenger seat and kept driving. I had spent 5 years answering every time she needed me. Tonight, she could learn what silence felt like. I reached my apartment just after 9. 2 suitcases were already open on the bed. I had started packing before the engagement meeting because rumors had been moving through the Moretti organization for weeks. A secret agreement with the DeLucas. A major announcement. A future that no longer included me. I had hoped the rumors were wrong. That had been my first mistake. My second was believing Serena would tell me the truth before everyone else. I pulled shirts from the closet and folded them without caring how they landed. I had no clear destination yet. Chicago had an opening at a private security firm. Miami had better weather and worse people. Seattle was far enough away that even Serena might hesitate before following. Not that she would. She was getting married. My phone rang again. This time, it was Daniel Mercer, my second in command. I answered. What? Your bedside manner needs work. I'm not beside your bed. Good. That would make this conversation uncomfortable. I shoved another shirt into the suitcase. Did Serena send you? She didn't have to. Half the building heard you resign. I didn't raise my voice. No, but Vincent did after you left. I stopped packing. What happened? Miss Moretti told him your resignation was temporary. She doesn't get to decide that. Daniel laughed. You've known her 5 years and still say things like that. I'm serious. So is she. She locked the executive floor, and told legal not to process your paperwork. My jaw tightened. That's not legal. You work for a crime family. On the legitimate side. Sure. And I'm a church pianist. I zipped one suitcase shut. Daniel's tone changed. Lucas, what are you doing? Leaving New York. Because she's marrying DeLuca? Because my job has changed. That's not what I asked. I stared at the city through the window. Good night, Daniel. Wait. She canceled the engagement dinner. My hand tightened around the phone. What? Dinner at Vincent's house. 40 guests. 2 council members flew in from Boston. She walked out 10 minutes after you did. Where did she go? Daniel paused. Then someone knocked on my apartment door. 3 hard knocks. Not polite. Not patient. I closed my eyes. She's there, isn't she? Daniel asked. I hate you. That makes 2 of us. Good luck. He ended the call. The knocking came again. Lucas, Serena called through the door. Open it. I considered pretending I wasn't home. Then she added, I know you're standing 3 feet away. I opened the door. Serena stood in the hallway wearing the same black suit from the meeting. Her hair was no longer pinned perfectly. A few dark strands had fallen around her face, and her eyes were colder than usual. Behind her stood 2 armed guards. I looked at them. Planning to arrest me? I considered it. That's romantic. Both guards suddenly became interested in the carpet. Serena stepped inside without being invited. Her gaze went straight to the suitcases. You packed quickly. I've been thinking about this for a while. She turned toward me. How long? Long enough. Before today? Yes. That answer hurt her. I saw it, even though she hit it fast. She looked at the guards. Wait downstairs. Miss Moretti. Downstairs. The door closed behind them. Serena walked into my bedroom and stared at the open drawers. You planned to leave without telling me. You announced your engagement without telling me. That is not the same thing. You're right. My decision only affects me. Her head snapped toward me. You leaving affects me. Why? You know why. No, Serena. I don't. She crossed the room and closed the suitcase with one sharp movement. You handle my security. Daniel can do it. You manage the Boston accounts. He knows the files. You're the only person Vincent listens to when he's angry. That sounds like a family problem. Her control cracked. You are part of this family. I laughed bitterly. Until your husband decides I'm not. Adrian doesn't decide anything. He was sitting in my chair before the meeting ended. That wasn't your chair. It was for 5 years. Serena looked away. That silence gave me my answer. I moved past her and reached for the second suitcase. She grabbed my wrist. Don't. It was the first time she had touched me since the meeting. Her hand was warm. Her grip wasn't. Let go, I said. No. You can't physically keep me here. Her eyes lifted to mine. You know I can. I stepped closer. Would you? For a second, neither of us spoke. Serena had enough power to close airports, freeze bank accounts, and make men disappear from the city before breakfast. But if she ordered me to stay, whatever existed between us would die. She knew that. Her fingers slowly loosened. I canceled dinner, she said. I heard. Did Daniel tell you why? No. Because I couldn't sit there while everyone celebrated something I didn't choose. My heartbeat shifted. You agreed to the engagement. I agreed to consider an alliance. There was a ring on the table. I never put it on. Your father announced a wedding date. My father announces many things. This one seemed real. Her voice softened. It is real to him. And to you? Serena stared at me. I waited. That was all she had to do. One answer. One honest sentence. Instead, she stepped away and straightened her jacket. The DeLucas control the ports we need. My father believes the marriage will prevent a war. The hope inside me collapsed. So you'll do it. I didn't say that. You didn't say you wouldn't. Her eyes flashed. Not everything is simple. This is. For you, maybe. Yes. For me, it's very simple. I can't stay here and watch you become his wife. The words landed between us. Serena's breathing stopped. I had come too close to confessing again. She stared at me like she wanted to tear the truth out with her bare hands. Why? She asked. I turned away. You know why? No. Say it. I picked up the suitcase. She blocked the doorway. Move. Say it, Lucas. You're getting married. Then why does that hurt you? I laughed without humor. You really need me to humiliate myself. Her expression changed. Not anger. Pain. I would never humiliate you. You did it this afternoon. I was trying to protect you. From what? Before she could answer, Her phone rang. She looked at the screen and declined the call. It rang again. Adrian, I asked. My father. Answer it. No. Serena. Her phone rang a third time. She switched it off and placed it on my dresser. Tomorrow morning, she said. The DeLucas are moving a shipment through Red Hook. Someone inside our organization leaked the route. I stared at her. And I need you to find the leak. I resigned. Complete this one assignment. No. Lucas. No. Her voice turned colder. 3 more Eddie guards are missing. That stopped me. Since when? 2 hours ago. Why wasn't I told? Because you walked out. The accusation was unfair. It still hit. I set the suitcase down. Who? Evan Shaw, Marco Bell, and Tommy Reed. I knew all 3. Evan had a wife and a 6-month-old daughter. Marco had trained half the younger guards. Tommy was 23 and still called me sir even after I repeatedly told him not to. Last location? Red Hook Warehouse 12. Police. Not an option. Security footage? Deleted. By someone with internal access, I said. Serena nodded. I should have refused. I should have told her the missing men were no longer my responsibility. Instead, I reached for my coat. One assignment, I said. Then I'm gone. Relief appeared in her eyes. Too strong. Too personal. She stepped toward me. 48 hours. 24. 36. 24. Fine. I walked past her. She caught my sleeve. This time, her touch was gentle. Lucas. I looked down at her hand. She released me slowly. If you solve this, she said, will you stay until the wedding? No. Her jaw tightened. Then I'll find another reason. I looked at her. She didn't smile. Serena Moretti rarely made empty threats. And for the first time that night, I understood the truth. She wasn't trying to keep her security advisor. She was trying to keep me. She just wasn't brave enough to admit why. Warehouse 12 looked empty from the street. That meant nothing. Empty buildings were where the Morettis kept their most dangerous secrets. I parked 2 blocks away and checked the time. 11:43 p.m. Serena reached for the door handle. I locked it. She turned toward me. Open the door. You're staying in the car. No. There may be armed men inside. There are always armed men inside. That argument isn't helping. Her eyes narrowed. Those are my people. And you are the head of this family. Walking into a trap would be irresponsible. You've walked into traps for me before. That was my job. Her expression hardened. You're still doing it. For 24 hours. Then stop wasting them. She unlocked the door herself. I grabbed her arm before she could get out. Serena. She looked down at my hand. I let go immediately. Her voice dropped. You can touch me, Lucas. I'm not made of glass. That isn't the problem. What is? I looked at her engagement ring finger. Still bare. She followed my gaze. Neither of us spoke. Then a black SUV stopped behind us. Daniel stepped out with 4 guards. Serena opened the door. We're going in. I got out after her. No one fires unless fired upon. We need answers. Daniel nodded. And if the answers start shooting? Then be persuasive. Serena glanced at me. That sounded like the old Lucas. The old Lucas, charged by the hour. I'll double it. You can't buy me back. Her eyes held mine. I wasn't talking about work. Daniel cleared his throat loudly. Should I give you 2 a minute? No, we said together. We entered through the east loading entrance. The security keypad had been ripped from the wall. Inside, the lights were off, but someone had left the emergency system running. That bothered me. People destroying evidence usually cut all the power. Someone wanted us to see enough. I signaled for Daniel's team to split. Serena stayed beside me. Too close. Behind me, I whispered. I'm armed. So am I. I'm a better shot. Not while angry. I'm not angry. You followed me to my apartment with armed guards. That was concern. That was a felony. She almost smiled. Then we heard a groan. I raised my weapon and moved toward the back office. A man lay on the floor behind a row of crates. Tommy Reed. His hands were tied, his face bruised, but he was breathing. Serena dropped to her knees beside him. Tommy. His eyes opened slowly. Miss Moretti? Where are Evan and Marco? Tommy looked past her and saw me. Relief crossed his face. Lucas. I'm here. Tell me what happened. We came to check the shipment route. He coughed. Someone changed the access code. Marco said only 3 people could do that. Who? You. Miss Moretti. His breathing turned shallow. And Mr. DeLuca. Serena went still. I already knew what she was thinking. Adrian had been given shared access that afternoon. Too convenient. Did you see him? I asked. Tommy shook his head. Saw his driver. Black sedan. DeLuca plates. A gunshot cracked from the upper level. I pulled Serena down. The bullet struck the crate behind us. Daniel's team returned fire. Stay here, I ordered. Serena grabbed my jacket. You're not going alone. Tommy needs you. He needs medical help. Then call it. Another shot hit the concrete. I moved toward the stairs while Daniel covered me. A man in a gray jacket ran across the upper walkway. I recognized him. Vince Caruso, one of Adrian's private enforcers. I reached the top just as he disappeared into a side room. When I entered, he had a gun pressed against Marco Bell's head. Marco was on his knees, bleeding from the temple. Vince smiled. Drop it. I kept my gun raised. You know that won't happen. Then he dies. Marco looked at me. Don't. Vince pushed the barrel harder against his head. Your loyalty is touching, I said. But Adrian won't protect you. His smile faded. I never said Adrian sent me. You didn't need to. Footsteps sounded behind me. Serena entered the room. Vince's face changed. Fear. Not surprise. Fear. Miss Moretti, he said. Serena lifted her gun. Release him. Vince dragged Marco upright. I have orders. From my fiancé? He said nothing. That silence was enough. Serena's voice became colder. Did Adrian order you to take my men? Vince swallowed. Answer her, I said. He wanted proof. Proof of what? Serena asked. That Lucas was planning to betray the family. I stared at him. Serena didn't move. What proof? Vince laughed nervously. The resignation. The missing files. The meeting with the Chicago firm. My blood chilled. I had spoken to that firm once. Privately. Someone had been watching me. Serena's eyes moved to mine. You met with another organization? A security company. Legitimate. You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me you were getting married. Vince tightened his grip on Marco. He's leaving you, Miss Moretti. Adrian said men like him always do. Serena's expression changed. Something dark settled behind her eyes. Adrian said that. Vince realized his mistake too late. Serena lowered her weapon slightly. Lucas, she said. I knew that tone. I fired at the overhead light. The room went black. Marco dropped. Vince fired blindly. Serena moved faster than he expected. By the time the emergency light flickered back on, she had him against the wall with his gun on the floor. Her forearm pressed against his throat. Where is Evan? She demanded. Vince gasped. Pier 9. Alive? Yes. If he isn't, I'll bury you under that pier. She released him. Daniel's men rushed in and restrained Vince. Marco looked up at Serena. You came yourself. Of course I did. Then he looked at me. And you came back. Temporarily. Serena turned toward me. The word had bothered her. Good. It was supposed to. We found Evan 30 minutes later, locked inside a shipping container at Pier 9. He was injured but alive. By 2 in the morning, all 3 men were on their way to a private clinic. Vince was being questioned by Vincent Moretti's people, and Adrian had called Serena 14 times. She ignored every call. We stood beside my car while Daniel finished giving orders. You should answer him, I said. No. He needs to explain. He sent men to frame you. He may deny it. He can deny it without me listening. I opened the driver's door. Serena blocked it. You met with the Chicago firm. Yes. When? Last week. Her face tightened. You were planning to leave before the engagement. I was preparing. For what? For the day you stopped needing me. Her anger disappeared. I never stopped needing you. That isn't enough. What do you want from me? I looked at her. This time, I didn't hide behind work. I want to be more than the man you call when everything goes wrong. She stared at me. The city noise seemed to vanish. Then her phone rang again. Adrian. She took it out. For 1 second, I thought she might answer. Instead, she handed it to me. Turn it off. I looked at the screen. He's your fiancé. Not tonight. That isn't an answer. Her eyes locked on mine. No, Lucas. It's a warning. To him. To anyone who thinks they can force me to choose against you. My heart slammed against my ribs. Before I could respond, a voice came from behind us. How touching. Adrian stood beside a black sedan, 2 guards behind him. His smile was calm. His eyes were not. He looked at Serena first, then at me. You canceled our dinner, he said. Ignored my calls, and spent the night chasing a man who already planned to abandon you. Serena stepped closer to me. Not him. Adrian noticed. You had my men taken, she said. I was protecting you. By framing Lucas? By proving what he is. I moved between them. Careful. Adrian laughed. Still playing bodyguard? Serena touched my arm. A small gesture. But Adrian saw the claim in it. So did I? He is not playing anything, she said. Adrian's face hardened. The wedding is in 3 weeks. Serena didn't look away from me. I'm aware. Then act like my future wife. Her hand slid from my arm to my wrist. She held on. No, she said quietly. You act like a man who still has a wedding. Adrian's face changed. Only slightly. But men like him didn't need to shout to become dangerous. They simply stopped pretending to be civilized. What did you say? He asked. Serena still held my wrist. You heard me. The contracts are signed. Contracts can be broken. Our families announced the marriage. Announcements can be corrected. Adrian stepped closer. Your father will never allow it. Her grip tightened. My father doesn't decide who I marry. The words should have settled everything. They didn't. Because she still hadn't said she wouldn't marry him. Adrian looked at me as if I were something stuck beneath his shoe. This is because of him. Serena's voice sharpened. This is because you kidnapped my men and tried to frame someone under my protection. Protection? Adrian repeated. Is that what you call it? I pulled my wrist free. Serena looked at me immediately. I ignored the question in her eyes. Adrian smiled when he noticed the distance I created. You see, he said to her. He's already leaving. Serena turned on him. Go home. We need to speak privately. No. Serena. You lost the right to use my name like that when you sent armed men after Lucas. Adrian's expression darkened. He isn't family. The air changed. Daniel and the guards stopped moving. Serena stepped in front of me. He is more family to me than you will ever be. Nobody spoke. Not Adrian. Not Daniel. Not me. Serena seemed to realize what she had admitted, but she didn't take it back. Adrian stared at her for several seconds. Then he adjusted his cuff. 3 weeks, he said quietly. You will walk into that church, because if you don't, your father loses the docks, the Boston Agreement, and every protection my family provides. Serena didn't flinch. I don't need your protection. No, Adrian said. But perhaps Lucas does. I stepped forward. Serena moved faster, pressing one hand against my chest. Don't. Adrian laughed, still taking her orders. At least she gives them herself, I said. You hide behind hired men. His guards reached inside their jackets. Daniel's team did the same. Serena kept her hand on my chest. Take your men and leave, she told Adrian. If anyone follows Lucas again, the engagement ends before sunrise. Adrian looked at her hand, then at my face. This isn't over. It is for tonight. He returned to the sedan. His guards followed. The car pulled away without another word. Only then did Serena remove her hand. Daniel exhaled. I assume the wedding security plan is changing. Daniel, Serena said. Yes. Leave. He glanced at me. I nodded. Within a minute, we were alone beside the warehouse. Serena crossed her arms. You're angry. You threatened to end the engagement. I meant it. You should have ended it. Her eyes narrowed. You think I can destroy a 20-year alliance overnight? You nearly did it for me 5 minutes ago. That was different. How? Because he threatened you. I laughed once. There it is again. What? You'll burn down half the city if someone touches me, but you won't tell me why. I told you. You're important to the family. No, I stepped closer. You said I was more family than Adrian. That wasn't business. She looked away. I hated that more than silence. Say it, I told her. Her gaze returned to mine. Say what? Whatever you've been refusing to say since the meeting. Her expression tightened. This is not the place. There will never be a place. That's not true. It's always the wrong time with you. There's always a deal, a threat, a council meeting, or a family crisis. I lowered my voice. And now there's a wedding. Her eyes flashed with pain. I didn't choose that wedding. Then stop it. You think I haven't tried? I went still. Serena took a breath. For 6 months, my father has been negotiating with the DeLucas. Every time I refused, he increased the pressure. First it was the ports, then the Boston accounts. Then he threatened to remove me from the family businesses entirely. You never told me. I knew what you would do. What? You would try to solve it. That's my job. No. Her voice broke through the coldness. You would put yourself between me and everyone else. You always do. I stared at her. That's why you kept me out? That's why I tried. You let me believe you wanted Adrian. I never wanted Adrian. The answer hit me hard enough that I forgot to breathe. Serena stepped closer. I never accepted his ring. I never approved the wedding date. I never agreed to share control with him. Your father announced it. My father thought public pressure would force me. Will it? She didn't answer. The hope died almost as quickly as it appeared. I nodded slowly. That's what I thought. I turned toward my car. Serena caught my sleeve. Lucas, wait. For what? I need time. You have 3 weeks. I need you with me. I faced her. As what? She froze. Your advisor? I asked. Your bodyguard? The man standing beside you while you marry someone else. You know you're more than that. Then say what I am. Her lips parted. Nothing came out. I pulled my sleeve free. I can't keep doing this. Doing what? Waiting for you to choose me. Her face lost all color. There it was. The truth neither of us could hide anymore. Serena whispered my name. I opened the car door. She slammed it shut. Don't walk away after saying that. I'm not walking away because I said it. I'm walking away because you still can't answer. She stood between me and the car. I can answer. Then do it. Her eyes searched mine. For once, Serena Moretti looked afraid. Not of Adrian. Not of her father. Of me. A vehicle approached fast. Headlights cut across us. A Moretti sedan stopped beside the curb, and Vincent stepped out before the driver could open his door. His expression was furious. Serena. She turned. Vincent looked at me. You were told to finish one assignment, not interfere in family business. Adrian made it my business when he kidnapped your men. I'll deal with Adrian. You should have dealt with him before offering your daughter to him. Serena stepped between us. Lucas. Vincent pointed toward the car. Leave. I looked at Serena. She looked back. This was the moment. One sentence from her, and I would have stayed. Vincent noticed. Serena, he warned. Get in the car. She didn't move. Tell him, I said quietly. Her eyes filled with everything she had never said. Then Vincent delivered the final blow. If you break this engagement, the DeLucas will start a war. Men will die, businesses will collapse, and every death will be on your hands. Serena's face hardened. The woman I knew disappeared behind the air her father had trained. She turned to me. Go home, Lucas. I stared at her. Is that what you want? Her voice became colder. Yes. It was a lie. I knew it. But she said it anyway. I stepped back. Then we're done. Her control cracked. Lucas. No. You made your choice. I got into my car. She stood in the street as I drove away. My phone rang before I reached the next block. Serena. I didn't answer. It rang again. Then a message appeared. Don't leave New York. Please. I read it twice. Then I deleted it. By sunrise, I had booked a flight to Chicago. It departed on her wedding day. At the exact hour she was supposed to say, I do. For the next 19 days, Serena and I didn't speak. She called. I ignored her. She sent messages. I read every one and answered none. We need to talk. Adrian is being investigated. My father moved the wedding forward. Lucas, answer me. The last message came at 2:13 a.m. I never chose him. I stared at those 5 words until sunrise. Then I turned off my phone. It wasn't enough anymore. Serena had spent years speaking through actions and expecting me to understand what she refused to say. Maybe I had understood too well. Maybe that was why I stayed so long. But loving someone in silence didn't make you theirs. And being needed wasn't the same as being chosen. So I finished transferring my accounts to Daniel, sold most of my furniture, and accepted the position in Chicago. My flight left at noon on Saturday. Serena's wedding began at 11. The timing was cruel. That was why I chose it. At 9:40 that morning, Daniel appeared at my apartment carrying coffee and wearing a dark suit. I looked him over. You're dressed for a funeral. Close. The wedding. He handed me a cup. Vincent ordered full attendance. And yet you're here. I came to make one final attempt at stopping you from being an idiot. I picked up my suitcase. You'll need a better opening. Serena hasn't slept in 3 days. That's not my responsibility. She fired the wedding planner. Still not my responsibility. She threatened the priest. I paused. Why? He asked whether she was entering the marriage willingly. Despite myself, I almost smiled. Daniel noticed. There he is. Don't. She doesn't want to marry him. Then she shouldn't. It isn't that simple. It became simple when she told me to leave. Daniel stepped in front of the door. She said that because Vincent threatened a war. I know. And you're still leaving? Yes. Why? Because she asked me to wait without giving me anything to wait for. Daniel stared at me. Then his voice softened. She's afraid. So am I. Serena doesn't know how to ask people to stay. She seemed clear when she told me to go. That was duty talking. And what do you think we'll be talking when she says her vows? He had no answer. I moved past him. Daniel followed me into the hallway. The DeLucas are planning something. I stopped. What? Adrian moved 30 men into Moretti territory last night. He claims they're wedding security. They aren't. I know. Does Serena? She does now. I looked at him. What are you leaving out? Daniel hesitated. That was never a good sign. Vince Caruso talked. The man from the warehouse. He admitted Adrian arranged the kidnapping. He also said Adrian's real goal was never the alliance. What was it? Control. I waited. Daniel lowered his voice. The marriage contract gives Adrian temporary voting authority over Moretti Holdings if Serena is declared unable to lead. My grip tightened around the suitcase handle. Unable how? Incapacitated. Arrested. Missing. Or dead. Daniel said nothing. I set the suitcase down. Why is the wedding still happening? Vincent thinks canceling publicly will trigger an attack. An attack is already coming. That's what Serena said. I pulled out my phone. 18 missed calls. 7 from Serena. The most recent was from 10 minutes ago. I called her. It rang once, then went to voicemail. I tried again. Nothing. Where is she? I asked. St. Patrick's Cathedral. Why isn't she answering? Daniel looked toward the elevator. I don't know. That was when my phone rang. Vincent Moretti. I answered immediately. What happened? His voice came rough and low. Where are you? On my way to the airport. Change your plans. My stomach tightened. Why? Serena found evidence against Adrian. Then cancel the wedding. She tried. A cold silence followed. What did he do? Lock down the cathedral. His men control the east entrance and the underground garage. Daniel moved closer, listening. Where is Serena? With Adrian. Is she hurt? I don't know. My pulse turned violent. Vincent continued. Adrian claims he'll release the guests after the ceremony. He thinks marriage will protect him. He thinks once they're married, he controls both families. And you let him reach the altar? His voice hardened. Watch your tone. Your daughter is being forced into a marriage by a man who tried to destroy her. I'll use any tone I want. Daniel grabbed my suitcase. I'll put this back, he said. I was already moving. The drive to the cathedral took 18 minutes. It felt like an hour. Moretti vehicles blocked Fifth Avenue. Guests stood behind police barriers, confused and frightened. Adrian's men had taken positions near the side entrances, dressed like private security. No one fired. Not yet. Vincent met me behind a line of black SUVs. You came. You called. His gaze moved over me. She said you wouldn't. Where is she? Inside. Who's with her? Adrian, his father, and 6 armed men. I looked toward the cathedral. What about your people? Disarmed at the door. Adrian threatened the guests. Daniel joined us. Police tactical units are 15 minutes out. Too long, I said. Vincent grabbed my arm. You cannot walk in there. I looked at his hand. He released me. You brought me into this family because I solved problems you couldn't, I said. Let me do it. This is not a security contract. No, this is Serena. That ended the argument. Vincent handed me a small earpiece. There's a service entrance beneath the north stairwell. It leads behind the altar. Daniel checked his weapon. I'm coming. No. He frowned. Lucas. If Adrian sees a team, he panics. I go alone. Vincent studied me. You would risk your life after she told you to leave? I looked at the cathedral doors. She lied. Inside, the ceremony had already begun. I heard the priest's voice through the concealed passage as I climbed the narrow stairs. Do you, Adrian DeLuca, take Serena Moretti? I do, Adrian said immediately. My hand tightened around my weapon. Then came silence. The priest spoke again. Serena? I reached the door behind the altar and opened it just enough to see. Serena stood in a white dress beside Adrian. She looked beautiful. She also looked furious. Adrian held her wrist. Not gently. His father sat in the front row with 2 armed men behind him. The remaining guards watched the exits. Serena's eyes moved across the room. Searching. For what? I didn't know. Then the priest asked again, "Do you take Adrian DeLuca as your lawful husband?" Adrian leaned toward her. "Say it," he whispered. Serena looked down at his hand around her wrist. Then she smiled. It wasn't warm. It was the smile she wore before destroying someone. "No." The room went still. Adrian's grip tightened. "What did you say?" I said no. His father stood. "Think carefully." "I have." Adrian pulled her closer. "You don't have a choice." Serena looked directly at him. "That is the mistake every man in this room keeps making." She tore her wrist free and removed the diamond ring he had forced onto her finger. Then she dropped it on the floor. Adrian's face twisted. "You will finish this ceremony." "No." His hand moved inside his jacket. I stepped through the door and aimed my weapon at his chest. "I wouldn't." Serena turned. The moment she saw me, every trace of fear left her face. "Lucas." Adrian looked between us. "You were supposed to be gone." I changed my flight. Serena took one step toward me. Adrian caught her arm again. That was his final mistake. I crossed the distance before he could draw his weapon, twisted his wrist, and drove him against the altar. His gun hit the floor. Serena kicked it away. The side doors burst open as Daniel and the Moretti guards entered. Adrian's men raised their weapons. Vincent's voice thundered from the center aisle. "Anyone who fires dies before he reaches the door." For several seconds, nobody moved. Then one by one, Adrian's men lowered their guns. Adrian stared at Serena. "You're destroying both families for him." She looked at me. "No." Her voice carried through the cathedral. "I'm saving mine." Then she walked past Adrian, past her father, and past every guest who had come to watch her marry another man. She stopped directly in front of me. "You came back. You were in danger." Pain flickered across her face. "Only because I was in danger?" I couldn't answer. "Not there. Not with 100 people watching." Serena reached up and gripped the front of my jacket. Her eyes shone, but her voice stayed steady. "I refused him. I saw. I stopped the wedding." "I saw that too." "And you're still planning to leave?" My silence answered for me. Her expression changed. The vulnerable woman vanished. The Moretti air returned. She turned toward the cathedral doors, where two of her guards stood beside my suitcase. "Daniel must have brought it." Serena pointed at it. "Who brought that here?" Daniel raised one hand. "Technically, I did." "Take it back." I stared at her. "Serena." She faced the entire cathedral. Her father, the council, the DeLucas, and every person who had expected her to sacrifice herself for power. Then she took my hand. "Listen carefully," she said. Nobody breathed. "The wedding is over. The alliance is over. And Lucas is not leaving New York." I leaned closer. "You don't get to decide that." Her fingers tightened around mine. "No," she said. "But I'm done pretending I don't care." Her gaze swept across the armed men near the doors. "Now tell me." Her voice became dangerously calm. "Who dares let him leave?" No one, answered Serena. Not her father. Not Adrian. Not the armed men standing near the doors. 100 people had just watched the most feared woman in New York cancel a political marriage, destroy a 20-year alliance, and take my hand like she intended to keep it. Still, I couldn't give her what she wanted. I pulled my hand free. The silence inside the cathedral turned brutal. Serena stared at me. "Lucas, you stopped the wedding," I said. "That doesn't mean you own me." Pain flashed across her face. Adrian laughed from beside the altar. "There it is," he said. "He doesn't want you." Serena didn't look at him. Neither did I. Daniel moved toward Adrian, but I raised one hand. "Let him talk." Adrian straightened his jacket as if he hadn't just been disarmed in front of both families. "You humiliated yourself for a man who was already running away," he told Serena. "You threw away the docks, the council, and your father's trust. And for what?" Serena's gaze remained fixed on me. "For the truth." Adrian smiled. "The truth is that he came back because Vincent called him, not because he chose you." That one landed. Serena's face didn't change, but her breathing did. I hated Adrian for saying it. I hated myself because part of it was true. I had come back because she was in danger, but I had stayed because walking away from her had felt like tearing something out of my chest. Vincent stepped into the aisle. "Enough. Adrian, your family's weapons will be collected. You and your father will leave under escort." Adrian's father rose from the front pew. "You think this ends peacefully?" Vincent looked at him. "It ends however you choose." Serena finally turned away from me. "Daniel," she said, Take Adrian downstairs. Adrian laughed again. You still think you're in control? Serena walked toward him. The room seemed to shrink around her. You kidnapped my men. You falsified security records. You tried to frame Lucas, and then you held my wedding guests at gunpoint. Our families handle matters privately. This is private. She stopped directly in front of him. By midnight, every DeLuca account connected to Moretti Holdings will be frozen. By morning, your access to the Brooklyn terminals will be terminated. By tomorrow afternoon, every partner who stayed loyal to you will know you nearly started a war because one woman refused to marry you. Adrian's confidence broke. Only for a second, but everyone saw it. You can't do that without the council, he said. Serena looked toward the 12 Moretti council members seated near the front. Can't I? One by one, the men lowered their eyes. Adrian's father swore under his breath. Serena turned to Daniel. Take them. Daniel and 4 guards escorted the DeLucas through the side entrance. Adrian looked back at me before disappearing. This isn't finished. I met his stare. It is for you. When the doors closed, the guests began whispering. Vincent approached Serena. You just declared war. No, she replied. I refused surrender. You had no authority to cancel the port agreement. I will after the council vote. His face hardened. You think they'll choose you after this? Serena glanced around the cathedral. They'll choose the person who protected this family while you were trying to sell me to it. The accusation hit harder than a slap. Vincent looked at me. This is what you wanted. I stepped forward. Leave me out of your failure. You have been in the center of it from the beginning. No. You put me there when you used your daughter's life as currency. His eyes turned cold. Serena moved between us. Father, go home. He stared at her. You are throwing away everything I built. She answered without hesitation. Then I'll build something better. Vincent walked away without another word. The cathedral slowly emptied. Council members avoided Serena's eyes. Guests whispered into phones. Armed guards collected weapons from Adrian's men. Within minutes, the wedding had become a crime scene and a political crisis. Serena stood alone near the altar. I should have left. Instead, I walked toward her. She didn't turn around. You can say it, she said. Say what? That I was too late. I stopped beside her. She looked down at the ring Adrian had dropped on the floor. I should have ended it the day my father mentioned his name. Why didn't you? Because I thought I could control the agreement without marrying him. And when you realized you couldn't, I thought I could delay it. You were going to delay your own wedding? I've delayed executions with less trouble. Despite everything, I laughed. Serena looked at me. The corner of her mouth moved slightly. Then the sadness returned. I didn't know how to tell you. You tell men they'll die before breakfast. That's easier. Why? Because I don't care whether they stay. The answer stripped away every defense I had left. She stepped closer. I know how to negotiate contracts. I know how to identify betrayal before it reaches my door. I know how to make powerful men regret saying my name. Her voice lowered. But every time I tried to tell you what you meant to me, you looked at me like I already had the power to destroy you. You did. Serena flinched. I continued before she misunderstood. You were the only person who could. Her eyes searched mine. Then why are you still leaving? Because stopping a wedding isn't the same as choosing a future. I chose you in front of both families. You chose not to marry Adrian. For you. Then say it. Her lips parted. This time, there was no father to interrupt us. No gunfire. No counsel. Just Serena and me standing beneath an altar meant for another man. She looked terrified. Then she reached into the hidden pocket of her wedding dress. She pulled out a folded piece of paper. My resignation letter. I stared at it. You kept that. I took it from legal before they could process it. That explains why Daniel couldn't find the original. I read it every night. Why? Because it was the first time I understood that you could actually leave me. Her fingers trembled around the paper. I had never seen Serena's hands shake. Not once. I spent years believing you would always be there, she said. I thought needing you was enough. I thought protecting you was enough. I thought you understood everything I couldn't say. I did understand. Then why wasn't it enough? Because I wanted to hear it. She closed her eyes. When she opened them again, the fear was still there. But she didn't hide behind it. I love you, Lucas. The words were quiet. They still hit harder than every gunshot I had ever heard. Serena took another step. I loved you before my father mentioned Adrian. I loved you when you argued with me in front of the council. I loved you when you sat outside my office all night, because someone threatened me and pretended you were only reviewing security reports. I couldn't speak. She unfolded my resignation letter and tore it in half. Then again, the pieces fell between us. I don't need a security advisor, she said. I don't need another man willing to die for this family. She took my hand and placed it over her heart. I need the man who makes me want a life outside it. My chest tightened. Serena. No. Let me finish. I've interrupted you for 5 years. A laugh escaped me. Her eyes softened. I'm not asking you to stay because I ordered it. I'm asking because I love you. Because I want breakfast with you when nobody is shooting at us. I want to argue about where we live. I want you beside me at council meetings, not behind me as protection. Her voice nearly broke. And someday, when you trust me enough, I want to marry you. The cathedral disappeared around us. For 19 days, I had imagined this moment. In every version, I took her into my arms. In reality, fear held me still. What happens tomorrow? I asked. The council may remove me. The DeLucas may attack. Yes. Your father may never forgive you. I know. And you're still choosing this. She pressed my hand harder against her heart. I'm choosing you. I looked down at her wedding dress. You're wearing another man's wedding gown. Her eyes narrowed. It's my dress. That sounded possessive. I am possessive. That's one of our problems. One of many. I finally smiled. Serena's expression changed instantly. Hope. Raw and unguarded. I lifted my free hand and touched her face. She leaned into my palm. That small movement destroyed me. I'm still angry, I said. I know. I still have a flight. I bought the airline. I stared at her. What? This morning. You bought an airline to stop one flight? A controlling interest. That is completely insane. I was under stress. I laughed, and for the first time in weeks, the pain inside me loosened. Serena gripped my jacket. Does that mean you're staying? It means I'm missing my flight. That isn't the same answer. I looked at the woman who had stopped her own wedding, challenged 2 crime families, and still seemed more afraid of my response than anything else. So I gave her the truth. I'm staying tonight. Her face fell slightly. I leaned closer. And tomorrow, you can start convincing me to stay longer. Serena smiled. Not the cold smile she used before destroying enemies. A real one. Soft. Almost young. I'm very persuasive. So I've noticed. She pulled me closer. Lucas. Yes. I meant what I said. About loving me. About marrying you. My heart stumbled. You canceled one wedding 20 minutes ago. I like to plan ahead. Then she kissed me. No hesitation. No permission requested. One hand in my jacket, the other against my neck, holding me like she had finally claimed the only thing she had ever been afraid to lose. When we separated, I rested my forehead against hers. You realize half the family is probably watching through the security cameras. Good. Why good? Her smile sharpened. Now they know exactly who I chose. By Monday morning, everyone in New York knew Serena Moretti had stopped her own wedding for me. By Monday afternoon, everyone also knew I still hadn't moved back into her penthouse. That second rumor offended her more. You're staying at a hotel? She asked. We stood inside her office while 12 council members waited beyond the closed doors. For now, you have a room at my place. I had a room at your place because I handled overnight security. You can still handle overnight security. I resigned. I rejected your resignation. I watched you tear it up. Then we agree it no longer exists. I stared at her. She stared back. 2 days after kissing me at the altar, Serena was already trying to turn emotional progress into a legal technicality. No, I said. Her eyes narrowed. No to which part? All of it. Lucas, you said you were going to convince me to stay. I am. Ordering my luggage into your apartment isn't convincing. It's efficient. It's kidnapping with better furniture. The corner of her mouth moved. You liked the furniture. I liked one chair. I had it moved into your room. I blinked. You did what? Saturday night. You moved my favorite chair into your apartment? Our apartment. Serena. Fine. My apartment. Temporarily. I crossed my arms. This is exactly the problem. What problem? You don't know how to pursue someone without taking over their life. She considered that. Would flowers help? I laughed. Do you know how to buy flowers? I own 3 floral companies. That is not the same thing. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it. That mattered. Normally, nothing interrupted business. Not family. Not sleep. Not me. Now she looked at me like the entire Moretti organization could collapse outside the door, and she would still finish this argument first. What would convince you, she asked. Consistency. I have consistently wanted you for 5 years. You consistently refused to say it. I'm saying it now. Twice. Her expression sharpened. I love you. 3 times. I love you. 4. She stepped close enough that my back nearly touched the desk. I love you, she said again, quieter this time. And if you keep counting, I'll say it in front of the council. My heartbeat betrayed me. She noticed. Would that help? No. That sounded like a lie. It would create a riot. Then they'll die informed. I laughed despite myself. A knock came from the door. Miss Moretti, Daniel called. The council is waiting. Serena didn't look away from me. Let them. They've been waiting 40 minutes. They supported Adrian. So this is punishment. Yes. Daniel was silent for a moment. Fair enough. His footsteps moved away. I looked at Serena. You should go in. Will you sit beside me? Why? Because that's where I want you. Not behind you. No. Not near the exit. No. Not outside watching security feeds. Her expression softened. Beside me. That answer reached somewhere dangerous. Still, I shook my head. The council needs to know you can lead without me. They know. Then prove it. She studied my face. You're afraid they'll think I chose you because I'm weak. I'm afraid they'll use me against you. They already have. And they'll do it again. Yes. Then why make me visible? Serena took my hand. Because hiding you made them believe they could remove you without consequence. Her thumb moved once across my knuckles. I won't hide what you are to me again. Before I could answer, the office doors opened. Vincent walked in. He looked from Serena's hand to my face. His expression became colder. The council is ready. So am I, Serena said. He turned to leave. Then he looked back at me. You should not attend. Serena's grip tightened. I answered before she could. I agree. She turned sharply. Lucas, this is your vote. It concerns you. It concerns your leadership. Vincent gave me the first approving look I had seen from him in weeks. That made Serena even angrier. You're both impossible, she said. Vincent opened the door. That may be the first thing we agree on. The council chamber was full. Every seat was occupied. Moretti captains lined the walls. Legal advisors stood near the windows. Daniel waited beside the main table with a folder under one arm. I remained outside. For 3 minutes. Then shouting started. You destroyed the alliance. You endangered every business we control. You allowed personal feelings to influence family decisions. The last accusation came from Councilman Warren Hale. I knew his voice. I also knew Serena would not tolerate it for long. I opened the door just as she stood. Warren pointed toward the entrance. Him. This entire crisis began because of him. Serena followed his gesture and saw me. Her expression changed. Not relief. Possession. She held out one hand. Lucas. Every man in the room looked at me. I should have stayed outside. Instead, I walked to her. There was an empty chair behind her, where an advisor usually sat. Serena moved it. She placed it beside her own. Then she looked at Warren. Continue. He stared at the chairs. You cannot be serious. I rarely joke during votes. He has no blood claim, no family title, and no authority here. Serena sat down. I remained standing. She looked up at me. Sit. I lowered my voice. This isn't helping. It's helping me. Serena. Her gaze softened just enough for only me to notice. Please. That one word changed everything. Serena Moretti did not say please. Not to councilmen. Not to her father. Not even when she was bleeding. I sat. The room erupted. Vincent struck the table with his palm. Enough. Serena turned toward the council. Lucas is here because Adrian targeted him as part of his attempt to control this family. He uncovered the warehouse betrayal. He recovered our men. He exposed the false security access and prevented a forced marriage. Warren scoffed. And what does he receive in return? Serena looked at me. Then back at the council. Me. Silence crushed the room. I turned toward her. Serena. She didn't blink. He receives my loyalty, my protection, and my public choice. If that makes any man here uncomfortable, he may leave before the vote. No one moved. Warren's face reddened. You would place one man above the family? No. Her voice became colder. I am warning this family that he is no longer available as a sacrifice. Vincent watched her carefully. And if your relationship threatens the organization, then I will solve the threat. And if Lucas becomes the threat? Serena looked at me. There was no hesitation. He won't. That is not an answer. It is mine. I leaned forward. If I ever become a danger to this family, remove me. Serena turned sharply. No. I kept my eyes on Vincent. But no one uses me to control her. Not you. Not the council. Not the DeLucas. Vincent studied me. Then he nodded once. Acceptable. Serena looked between us. I did not agree to that. I lowered my voice. You don't control every decision. I'm beginning to dislike this relationship. No, you're not. No, she admitted. I'm really not. The vote began. 9 council members supported Serena. 2 abstained. Warren voted against her. She remained head of the Moretti family. The moment the decision was announced, Daniel handed her the first emergency report. DeLuca accounts are moving money through Newark, he said. They're preparing for retaliation. Serena opened the folder. Freeze every transfer. Already started. Move our people away from the Brooklyn docks. Daniel nodded. Then he looked at me. There's more. I knew from his face. What? Adrian disappeared from the holding house last night. Serena's head lifted. How? Inside help. The room tightened. Daniel placed a photograph on the table. It showed my hotel entrance. Taken that morning. On the back, someone had written 5 words. She chose you. Now pay. Serena read it. Her face emptied of emotion. That was always when she became most dangerous. She stood and looked at every man in the room. Lock the building. Warren frowned. You think the traitor is here? I know the photograph came from inside our security network. The doors closed. Armed guards moved into position. Serena turned toward me. From this moment, you stay beside me. I picked up the photograph. No. Her eyes hardened. This is not negotiable. If Adrian wants me, we use that. We will not use you as bait. He expects you to protect me. I will. Then he controls our movements. Her jaw tightened because she knew I was right. I stood. Let him think I'm leaving New York again. No. We give him 1 route, 1 car, and 1 chance. No. Serena. She stepped close, lowering her voice. I almost lost you once because I was afraid to choose you. I will not lose you now because you're trying to prove you deserve that choice. I stared at her. That isn't what this is. Then what is it? It's me standing beside you. Her anger faltered. I took her hand. Not because she ordered it. Because I wanted to. We finished this together. Serena looked down at our joined hands. Then she lifted them in front of the entire council. Fine. Her eyes returned to mine. But when this is over, you're moving into my apartment. I almost laughed. That wasn't part of the deal. It is now. You're impossible. And you're still here. She was right. For the first time, staying didn't feel like surrender. It felt like being chosen. And choosing her back. The plan was simple. That was the first reason I didn't trust it. At 8 that evening, I left Moretti headquarters in a black sedan with 1 driver and no visible escort. My suitcase sat in the trunk. A fake flight confirmation to Chicago had been placed inside the family's compromised security system. Anyone watching would believe I was leaving Serena again. She hated every part of it. You're wearing a tracker, she said through my earpiece. I know. And a vest. Yes. And Daniel is 2 cars behind you. He's supposed to be invisible. He isn't invisible to me. I looked through the rearview mirror. Are you watching every traffic camera in Manhattan? Only the relevant ones. That means yes. Her voice turned colder. You should never have agreed to this. It was my idea. That is why I objected. The driver glanced at me. I ignored him. Serena, Adrian won't move if he thinks you're nearby. I am nearby. You're supposed to be at headquarters. I am directing operations. That was not an answer. Silence. I closed my eyes. Where are you? Close enough. Serena. Focus, Lucas. The line went quiet. 5 minutes later, a gray SUV appeared behind us. Then another. The driver looked at the mirror. We have company. I see them. We entered the lower level of an unfinished parking structure near the river. The location had been selected because it offered limited entrances and no civilians. My sedan stopped in the center. The 2 SUVs blocked the exit. 6 men stepped out. Adrian came last. He wore a dark coat and the expression of a man who still believed the world owed him obedience. I opened the door and got out. He looked at the suitcase in the trunk. So you really were leaving? Disappointed? I expected Serena to lock you in her bedroom. She considered it. His smile disappeared. Even now you joke. Even now you talk too much. His men raised their weapons. I kept my hands visible. Adrian walked closer. You destroyed my family. You kidnapped Moretti guards, held a cathedral hostage, and tried to steal control through a marriage contract. All because she humiliated me. No, because she refused you. His face hardened. She chose a hired advisor over a dynasty. She chose someone who didn't treat her like property. Adrian stopped 3 feet away. And what did you choose? I looked directly at him. Her. That answer seemed to anger him more than anything Serena had done. He pulled a gun from his coat. Then you can die first. The lights went out. Gunfire exploded from the upper level. I dropped behind the sedan as Daniel's team fired from the concrete ramps. Adrian's men scattered. The driver pulled a weapon and covered the left side. I reached for Adrian, but he disappeared behind one of the SUVs. Lucas, Serena said through the earpiece. Status. Still alive. I can hear gunfire. That usually happens during an ambush. I'm coming down. No. I wasn't asking. A bullet struck the sedan window. Glass fell across the seat. I moved toward the second support column and fired twice, forcing one of Adrian's men back. Daniel's voice came through the comms. 3 down. East exit secure. Where's Adrian? Moving toward the riverside. I saw him at the far stairwell. I ran after him. Lucas, stop, Serena ordered. He's getting away. Let him. No. I reached the stairwell and pushed through the door. Adrian was waiting. His fist caught my jaw before I could raise my weapon. I hit the wall. My gun slid across the floor. He drove his shoulder into me, and we crashed against the railing. You think she loves you? He said. I struck him across the mouth. He staggered, then came back harder. She loves winning. Another hit landed against my ribs. The vest absorbed part of it. Not enough. You were a rebellion, Adrian continued. A way to defy her father. I caught his wrist and twisted. The gun fell from his hand. You really don't understand her. I understand women like Serena. No, you understand contracts. I drove him against the wall. She chose me before she knew whether I would stay. He head-butted me. My vision blurred. He broke free and reached for the weapon on the floor. A gunshot cracked through the stairwell. Adrian froze. Blood appeared across his shoulder. He dropped to one knee. Serena stood at the bottom of the stairs with a pistol in both hands. Her white wedding dress was gone. She wore black trousers, a fitted jacket, and the cold expression that had terrified half of New York. Behind her stood 2 Moretti guards. I stared at her. You were supposed to stay at headquarters. She climbed the stairs. You were supposed to let Daniel handle him. I had it under control. You were bleeding. I touched my mouth. It's a split lip. That is still blood. Adrian reached toward the fallen gun. Serena kicked it away and pressed her weapon against his chest. He looked up at her. You shot me for him. No, she said. I shot you because you reached for a gun. Her gaze became merciless. If it had been for him, I wouldn't have aimed for your shoulder. Daniel entered the stairwell with 2 guards. He looked at Adrian, then at Serena. Alive. For now, she said. Adrian laughed weakly. You think this makes you powerful? Serena lowered her weapon. No. Walking away from you did that. Daniel pulled Adrian to his feet and placed him in restraints. As they took him downstairs, Adrian looked back at me. She'll destroy you eventually. Serena answered before I could. Only if he leaves dirty dishes in the sink. I stared at her. Daniel covered a laugh with a cough. When we were alone, Serena grabbed my jacket and inspected the vest, my ribs, and the cut on my lip. I'm fine. You ignored 3 direct orders. You're not my boss anymore. I can fix that. No. Her hand stopped against my chest. The anger disappeared. You said you chose me. I did. But you still planned to leave. The suitcase was part of the trap. I know that. Then what are we arguing about? Her eyes lifted to mine. That you may leave someday when there isn't a trap. The truth in her voice stopped me. Serena Moretti had faced armed men without blinking. But the idea of me packing a suitcase still terrified her. I took her hands. I stayed. Tonight. Yesterday too. That is 2 days. You count everything? When it concerns you. I smiled. She didn't. So I stepped closer. I'm not moving to Chicago. Her breathing changed. I called the firm this morning. I continued. I turned down the position. You did? Yes. Why didn't you tell me? I wanted to make the decision without you buying the company. I would not have bought it. I raised an eyebrow. She looked away. I had only reviewed the ownership structure. I laughed. Then I pulled her into my arms. For 1 second, she remained stiff. After that, she held me so tightly I could barely breathe. I'm staying in New York, I said against her hair. But not because you ordered me. Not because the family needs me. She drew back. Then why? Because I love you. Her eyes softened. I had seen Serena destroy men with one look. I had seen her stop a wedding and challenge an entire council. Nothing had ever made her look as vulnerable as those 4 words. Say it again, she whispered. I love you. Again. You're becoming demanding. I have always been demanding. I touched my forehead to hers. I love you, Serena. She kissed me before I could say anything else. By sunrise, Adrian and every man who had helped him were in federal custody. Daniel had anonymously delivered enough financial records to guarantee they would remain there. The DeLuca alliance collapsed. The Moretti Council confirmed Serena as permanent head of the family. Vincent did not apologize. Men like him rarely did. But 1 week later, he invited me to dinner and poured me a glass of his best bourbon. For him, that was surrender. 3 months passed. Serena kept her promises. Mostly, she stopped assigning guards to follow me without warning. She asked before moving my belongings. She learned to buy flowers without purchasing the entire company. And I moved into her penthouse. My favorite chair was already waiting. One evening, she called me into the council chamber after everyone else had left. The long table had been cleared. A small black box rested in the center. I stopped at the door. Serena, come here. That tone usually means trouble. It does. I walked toward her. She picked up the box, but didn't open it. You told me stopping one wedding wasn't the same as choosing a future. I remember. So I chose one. She opened the box. Inside was a simple platinum ring. No giant diamond. No family crest. Nothing that looked like a business agreement. Serena came around the table and stood in front of me. Then, to my complete shock, she lowered herself onto one knee. Get up, I said immediately. No. Someone might see you. Good. I looked toward the security camera. The red light was on. You planned that. Yes. Of course you did. She held up the ring. Lucas, I spent most of my life believing love was another weakness people could use against me. Her voice remained steady, but her fingers trembled. Then you walked into my life, argued with every order I gave, protected me when I didn't deserve it, and left when I refused to be honest. I swallowed hard. You made me understand that choosing someone is not weakness. Her eyes never left mine. It is the only decision I have ever made that felt completely mine. She took a breath. I cannot promise you a quiet life. I know. I cannot promise that my family will become normal. That would require a miracle. And I will probably still try to control things. Definitely. Her mouth softened. But I can promise that I will choose you publicly, privately, and every day after this one. She lifted the ring. Lucas, will you marry me? I looked at the woman who had once been too afraid to ask me to stay. Now she was kneeling before me, risking rejection in front of every camera in the building. I took the ring from her hand. Her face fell. Then I pulled her to her feet. You don't kneel to me. I was proposing. You can propose standing. Is that a yes? I slid the ring onto my finger. Serena stopped breathing. Yes. She grabbed my face and kissed me. The council chamber doors opened. Daniel, Vincent, and half the Moretti organization stood outside. Daniel raised both hands. She ordered us to wait until you answered. Serena turned toward them. He said yes. The hallway erupted in applause. Vincent looked at the ring, then at me. Welcome to the family. I put one arm around Serena. I thought I was already family. She leaned against me. You were. Then she looked at everyone watching and lifted our joined hands. Months earlier, she had stood inside a cathedral and demanded to know who dared let me leave. Now no one tried, because they finally understood the truth. Serena Moretti had inherited an empire, but she had chosen me. And this time, I chose her back.